K100 with Conan and Disco is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for the NBA and the NHL playoffs this season. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAD, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline. The game starts here. I had the same issue, and I wonder if you did doing this book and like bro, when somebody asked me, like, remember when this, and I'm like, I can't really remember, but then they start telling the story, and it triggers my memory, and I remember the details. Is that what it was like doing this? Like you have just this vague memory of what happened in WCW, but when somebody starts talking about a specific story that happened, it triggers your memory. Was that what this was like for you?
Sometimes I still don't remember, or I remember a little bit, like vaguely about it. But a lot of you know, they bring it up, and it'd take me a minute. You know, getting older, I'm not getting any younger, so yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask you a question, Dave. Were you going to ask a question, Dave?
Yeah, he had a question you want to ask.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to mess around. We're being serious, so go ahead.
All right. So before we get into this, obviously you saw Who Killed WCW. Just give me your overall, because you were there, maybe things that you liked about the show or didn't like about the show, or comments that somebody made, or somebody that you thought was, or somebody that you thought was very refreshingly honest with a comment.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll start from the ending. I thought Brad Siegel's a piece of
right.
I had a feeling that he was a piece of, but I had no proof. And there he was on video admitting he was a piece of. And look, hey, Stu, whatever that Stu guy's name who made the deal, when you nod your head yes to a question and answer no, usually you're to tell. Disco, you live in Vegas, you know about it.
What did Conan? What did we discuss at the show yesterday? I actually showed that clip. Same thing. I showed the clip. I said, this is a basic body language tell. When you nod your head yes and say no, the guy is absolutely lying. And that was like a revelation. Like, yes, this was a scam between him and Brad Siegel to sell the company at a reduced cost, whatever they had going on to get it to the WWE. And that to me was like the most, that was like the exclamation point. It's like, you could have told this story in 2 minutes by just showing those two guys' conversation, that clip. And we would have gotten to what killed WCW and how it was sold. Yeah, so that's hysterical that you brought that up, because I actually showed the clip on the show and brought up the exact same thing. You know, so yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's not always easy reliving the some of the good, a lot of the good, and a lot of the bad. You know me, I'm not a Russo. It's nothing personal. I don't wish him bad, or I'd shake his hand and buy him a drink if I saw him, but I just don't like his style of writing, and that's fine. Maybe some do, but
what did you think about his comment that he had more talent than 80% of the talent?
I think that's probably the one comment that I've heard that's going to get more heat with an entire locker room than anything anybody else has ever said. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
And it's funny? It was funny because at the end there, Dave, I kind of checked out, right? Like the last year and a half, I didn't give anymore. I didn't care what was going on. I wasn't really watching the show. And I couldn't believe, at the end, how you put all these formats at the end of the book.
Yeah.
All the Russo was in, and there was even one that you put in there, which is a video package that says Russo, the man, the myth, the legend. I don't even remember that.
I truly believe that he believes that he was more talented than 80% of the roster. And if that's what he believes, he needs to check into a padded room, because,
I had this discussion with him on the podcast. Okay. And I said, we're going to go over the 120 talents that we're going to see if you think about it. And basically he tapped out. He says he knows he wasn't a better wrestler, but he thought that his character was like Vince, because I'm not going to criticize Vince for trying and what he felt he had to do to turn things around. He had his style of writing. He wanted to change the whole culture of WCW. The one thing that I criticized it for, I said, I'll never forgive you for, is that, here you are, to this day, that's suffering post-concussion syndrome. All right. Because we had this argument one time. I was saying, Vince, you went out there and you couldn't perform, you got hurt. He's like, he was trying to say, well, the story was written, because I had to get into physicality. I was like, bro, you were the one writing the story. I go, you literally wrote yourself into storylines where you had to perform physically. You weren't trained well enough to protect yourself, and you got multiple concussions. I go, I can't. How can I? Dave, that's my biggest criticism of Vince.
It's no different. It's no different, Dave, and we've seen it before. Than a booker hooking up his boys or hooking up his sons. In this case, he was a fanboy and was on the mic with Ric Flair and coming out as the Pope. He put the belt on himself. I was like, how much more of a mark can you be? But anyways, he'll probably think that because we said this, we hate him.
No, I've already discussed this with him. He said, when I hate it, I've said, because I was in the booking meetings with Vince, and Penzer was in there too. Sometimes. So, but what I will say is, to this day, the Russo style of it's very interesting. I would wonder, imagine, Penzer, have you been watching Raw and SmackDown at all?
Me?
Yeah.
That's your name is Penzer.
Yeah, I thought he said Conan. Sorry. More SmackDown than Raw. 3 hours is hard to take, but I felt
okay. Well, for perfect example, imagine the type of Raw this past Monday night. Okay, look at the type of show it was. Tons of backstage stuff, supernatural things going on. It's just all this. Definitely not if we would have known at WCW 25 years later that's the type of TV show that would be a wrestling show, we would have never thought that. You know what I'm saying? The cameras, wrestling now is basically a television show with wrestling as the backdrop. And it's I think that's what Vince's vision was. And he came in WCW and it's just we had a culture there. We hadn't done this ever. And he just faced a very difficult time trying to change the whole way of writing television. But that way of writing television kind of exists today, So
I just think it was.
Go ahead.
I just think it was more to me. I'm sorry, Dave, to cut you off. I just think to me, Dave, it was more of what we've read before, and I think it's true. He had a filter, which was Vince, who was like, "Nah, I'm not going to do this. This is good." He had no filter over there, and he put out a lot of. I don't remember too many good ideas. Maybe Disco can remind me, but a lot of bad ideas. I can tell you that, especially all those on a pole matches.
Well, a ton of bad ideas. And yeah, I mean, look at, we had this rebranding with the Billionaire Club versus the New Blood. And right. God, there were these you don't even have to write storylines. There were so many real storylines in there. Right. It had so much potential to really, you could base the whole 3 hours of Nitro around those angles. Right. And we ended up
top 12 against the rest of the roster.
Why did that end so quick? Because I was actually suspended when that happened.
We ended up with Billy Kidman versus Hulk Hogan with a Viagra on a pole match. I mean, how do you go from
that wasn't Hogan and Kidman.
That was Douglas and Kidman. Yeah, you're right, Dio.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.